So you want to build a longboard. Right, I will show you how. It's easy. You're going to need some ply. Now I'm using a 3.6mm ply. I've got an 8x4 sheet. You can get 2 complete decks out of an 8x4 sheet. You see, I've already traced my outline onto the ply, and I'm just going to cut my deck out. I'm cutting it out roughly, not being too careful. Leave a little bit extra, makes it easier later on when you can trim it up and get a really nice neat job. You're going to need 4 of these to make a 4-ply deck. Tell us about the jig. Okay, right, I'll tell you about the jig. Jig I'm going to use is a 15mm block board, 12 inches wide or 300mm by 60 inches or 1.5 meters. I've got 2 pieces of 10mm wood screwed to the side. That helps to form the concave in the deck. I've also got another piece at one end, helps you form a kick in the tail. But for this deck we're going to use the opposite end, which is going to be a flat deck just with a little bit of concave. So get your PVA. I thin my PVA with about 10% water, and I use a paintbrush. Makes it easier to spread and you get a nice even coat. What you're aiming for is a nice even coat. Here's a tip for you. Really, you should do this before you start. Mark the centre of your jig, mark the centre of your deck. When you glue it up and you put the deck into the jig, it makes it so much easier to line everything up. Now clamp your 2 sheets together at the tail with a small clamp, put your timber form on top, make sure everything's in the middle and it's all lined up. Then clamp the nose down into the jig. Put the big clamps on and slowly increase the pressure. If you hear a big crack, you've done it up too tight and you need to start again. Take the small clamp off at the tail and then clamp the tail down flat. And then basically we leave that for 2 days. Right, so after 2 days I'm going to take it out of the jig so you can see what it looks like. Thank you very much. Right, so here we go, sticking the 3rd layer. Normally I'd leave it in the jig and just build the deck layers up on top, but I'm doing this just video so you can see what I'm doing, the process. Put the single sheet into the jig, clamp all 3 sheets together up at the tail, and then clamp the nose down into the jig. Add the timber form. Slowly do up the big clamps. Wipe the glue off as you go. Take the clamp off the tail and clamp the tail down. So here we go now with the 4th layer. If you want to know a little bit more about what I'm doing, watch out for my other video, how to make a longboard deck, stuff you need. Okay. Single sheet in the jig, clamp all 4 sheets together, tighten out the nose. Big clamps, Bob's your uncle. Dang boy. Right, so after 4 days we're going to take it out of the jig and you can see what we've got. Doesn't look too pretty, but after a couple more days, once it's dry, we're going to trim all of that off and it'll make it so much better. Get some new blades for your jigsaw while you're waiting and then start trimming it down to shape. Take your time, cut down the sides into the middle. Right, get a piece of wood to rest your jigsaw on. Make sure the piece of wood is wider than your deck. Then when you cut down the sides or down the rails of your deck, you get a nice square edged neat cut. Ease it up over the concave as you go, along down the sides. There you go, see it working there. And then always cut from the sides into the middle. Get a lot less splinters and a much neater job. Once it's all trimmed up, you can see that's what it looks like. Couple more days, bit of sanding, put a lot more shape into the deck. I've oiled the deck, you see it looks so much nicer and neater. Drilled the deck out for the trucks, we just need to go skate it. There you go, there's your longboard deck. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like. Take it easy.